Let's get something straight. The reason why Project 2025 and what happens in November is so important is because the president is far more powerful than you think. And this power comes from a crucial legal concept known as the Unitary Executive Theory. Now, if you haven't really heard of the Unitary Executive Theory, that's okay. They don't really teach it in schools, but I'll explain it to you. I graduated from Yale Law School where I focus in constitutional law, so I'll try to decode this rather simply because you need to understand how this works. So basically, this theory dates all the way back to 1984 in the Reagan era, and it gained even more prominence from the 1988 Supreme Court case Morrison v. Olson, where Justice Antonin Scalia wrote about it and defended it in a really powerful dissent. Now, the theory argues that the framers, particularly everyone's favorite framer, Alexander Hamilton, wrote in Article 2 of the Constitution calling for a very strong unitary executive with all control under the president. It mainly comes from the language in Section 1 here, also known as the vesting clause. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. This is read in combination with the take care clause, which reads that the president shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Essentially, under the Unitary Executive Theory, the president himself is in charge of the executive branch. No agencies are independent of him, and his control alone serves to counterbalance the other two branches of government. And while this started in the Reagan era, the president most famous for using this was George W. Bush after 9/11. The Unitary Executive Theory allowed him to make broad national security decisions without congressional oversight. That's how we got the war on terror, large-scale government surveillance programs on citizens, the use of controversial interrogation techniques, and a bunch of other measures that Congress and legal scholars thought were questionable but couldn't do anything about because of the Unitary Executive Theory. He also issued a bunch of statements known as signing statements, which is basically when a president signs a bill into law, instead of vetoing it, Bush would say, I think some part of this is unconstitutional, and I intend to completely ignore it, or implement it in a way that I see fit under the Unitary Executive Theory. So when you think about DJT's second term and some of the Handmaid's Tale aspects of Project 2025, and you're like, how could that be possible? How would he be able to do that as president? Isn't that Congress's job? No, he can under the Unitary Executive Theory. Most of the concerning policy recommendations, like gutting the Department of Education, firing federal workers, dismantling the FBI, eliminating abortion, and getting rid of the National Weather Service, are all made possible under this theory. And again, DJT already attempted to implement some of these Project 2025 policies in his first term. He signed Schedule F to reclassify workers and fire them, replacing them with loyalists. Now, if you want to read more about this, I suggest Jeffrey Crouch's book, The Unitary Executive Theory, A Danger to Constitutional Government. And look, DJT's face right on the front cover. And if he wins in November, Republicans and other organizations like the Heritage Foundation have made clear that they plan to use the Unitary Executive Theory and presidential powers to the fullest extent.